All right, well, welcome everyone. Welcome to the 8th Chakra Company's Tuesday night call, live from Palm Beach Gardens in Juno Beach. I don't think we've ever said that, but it kind of sounds cool to say that because we are live. But of course, some of you will be listening to this call as a recording, and everything that we receive in this call as far as information, downloads, and all the healing that we receive is going to apply to you as well, even though you'll be listening to the recording. We do have a bunch of people registered for tonight, so welcome, welcome, welcome. You know, the 8th Chakras company is a company that Bonnie and I launched. Probably we started this company almost 3 years ago. I can hardly believe 3 years has gone by, and this call has been happening for about 2 years. This is our flagship product. It means it's the product that we are the most excited about and happiest about. And you should be happy too, because we offer it to you for free. We can't even put a price on it. The information we get and the healings that we receive are so invaluable. Bonnie and I made the decision that we didn't want anybody to not be on this call for money, and so we are doing this for free. It is our gift to you. And we co-founded the 8th Chakra Company with the purpose of helping us all to master what it is to be human. We are in these physical bodies, and we have to master what it is to be human. When it's our turn to master what it is to be spiritual, we'll be on the other side. But for now, we're in these physical bodies raising our frequency, because you have to be in a body in order to raise your frequency. And that brings me to why this call is so important. And I hand it over to you, Bonnie.
Yay. I am thrilled to be here with you guys this evening. We have been talking about this for so long, and we are so excited to be here. So the reason why this call is so important is really what makes us different. And this is a gift that you give yourself, first of all. This is a gift that you give yourself, and it is an awesome opportunity to go up in frequency. But we work very intimately with the angelic realm and with the masters in the Akashic realm, and we are sure that you are not going to find this anywhere else. There is no one else that is working this kind of process at this kind of level. So we are very excited to be here this evening.
And we're also blessed because Bonnie and I have been developing a very intimate relationship with the Akashic Realm, as well as with the angelic realm. And the masters that are here guiding us on this are thrilled that all of you are showing up, because this is your time. This is your time. It is our time to really show up, to connect with our essence, to connect with our inner truth. And that is what Bonnie and I are all about. We want to teach you how to access your own information. So let's move into the intention for this call. Today is the first of 8 series in which we are going to help you raise your frequency. And we always say your frequency is going to raise just by you showing up. And that is really true. Sometimes it's kind of hard to explain those kind of phenomena, but just by showing up, your frequency is going to go up. And that's important, because the higher your frequency, the more healing you are able to receive, the more light you're able to receive, and the more hucha, as we like to call it, gets cleared from you. So it is very important for you to continue to go up, up, up in frequency. So today is the first of an 8-week series about raising your frequency. And we're going to talk about the Akashic Records, and we're going to talk about ThetaHealing, and how do we use these modalities to help you raise your frequency. So that is our intention, is to explain to you how we use these modalities, how you can use them, how you benefit for them, and how we're able to bring them through on these calls every single Tuesday night. Because we do open the records. Bonnie and I open the records for this community. That means you, everyone that is on this call tonight, whether you're here with us live right now or you're listening to a recording, you are the community of the Tuesday night call, and we open the records for you, which means that the conversations and the information that we receive is relevant to you. It's relevant to what's going on for you in your life right now. It doesn't get any better than this. So
It really doesn't.
So we've already dialed into the healing and the information, and now we're going to move into having a great awareness around the topic that we're going to talk about today. And some of you are new to these topics, so this is going to be great information for you to understand how these calls work. And then some of you have been around with us for a little while. Some of you are taking our mastery classes. Some of you have been around the Tuesday night call for a while. So you kind of have already a really good sense, but it's not going to hurt to hear a little bit more information, because every time you hear it, you're going to hear it slightly differently, and you're going to get more golden nuggets of information that are coming in for you. All right. So Bonnie, you want to tell these
how to
beautiful
play today, right? We really want them to participate, really. That's what we really want them to do. So here's how you do that. You can participate by typing something into the group chat. If you have a question, if you feel like, oh, I don't really want to raise my hand, but you can absolutely raise your hand. You can go down to the bottom, raise your hand, and we will call on you. If you're feeling brave and wild, we can turn on your video. If you're not, you don't have to turn your video on. We are the easiest people you will absolutely work with. But the reason why we really want you to participate is because it's an entirely different energy when we have people who are adding questions, asking things, adding their information, than when it's just Lily and I talking. Trust me, Lily and I talk to each other all the time and connect with information. So we'd really rather hear from you. So are we ready to play this game?
We are ready to play this game. So make sure you hit that raise your hand, and you can start raising your hand right away. And you could even trump us. Yes, because Bonnie and I are learning just the same as you are. Even though we've been reading Akashic Records for a long time and doing these healing modalities for a while, we are always learning, and we learn every single one of these calls. So yeah, so raise your hand and participate. All right, Bonnie, so why don't we start with, let's talk about the Akashic Records, and then let's talk about how we use the records and how does the records raise people's frequency? How does that happen?
How does that happen? So first of all, we'll tell you that the Akashic Records are the vibrational recording of everything that has ever been said, done, or thought. And you have your own records, but we also have, like we've already talked about, the records, the Akashic Records for the group here, the 8th Chakra Tuesday night call. And there's Akashic Records for every being that exists, as well as entities, buildings and places where you go, cities and all of that. There are Akashic Records, but what the vibrational recording allows us to do is, if you think of it like a big library, all of the information is stored there, and we get to go into our records and ask questions about our own lives. Sometimes people ask about past lives. They want to get answers and perspectives on what's going on in their life. One of the most popular questions we get is, am I living my purpose? Am I doing what I'm here to do? Imagine knowing that you are doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. The minute you start to know that, your frequency starts to go up. You start to align with what you are here for. So being able to use the Akashic Records to connect with your own purpose, to connect with some of the things that you are here to heal, is an opportunity to just continue to raise your frequency, to continue to connect with why you're here, what you're doing. So it's an awesome opportunity. And Lily and I do this probably now every other month, where we offer you the opportunity to learn to read your records, because we think it's so freaking powerful to learn to access your information in this way. Of course, it's not the only way that you can connect with your information. We just think it's one of the easiest, right, Lily?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one of the greatest things that I love about the Akashic Records is that it gives us glimpses into different times. Even though we experience time in a linear fashion here on this plane on Earth, in the Akashic Records, there is no time in a linear fashion. And so we can view lifetimes, past, present, and future. And they're shown to us as they are relevant to what we're experiencing in the moment. So I just love that we don't have to worry about time, and that we can actually move into those dimensions and heal things that happened in the past. We can even heal something that's going to happen in the future. And that's just something that we don't really think about it too often. But if you could imagine healing something in the future, you would heal it in the present when it hasn't even happened yet in this time zone. So that's a really cool thing. Obviously, when you're in those kinds of dimensions, you are experiencing higher frequencies, because the matter, the material of which our planet is made up of, is very, very solid. But in those dimensions higher up, like the Akashic Records, there is not that solidness to matter. The energy is much more subtle, and so the frequency is higher. So every time that you open the records, you literally physically, and I want to say physically because it doesn't feel physical, it feels like energy, but that's because we're not used to relating to energy as physical, but it is. Energy is physical and matter is energy. It's really interesting. It's just different levels of the density of it. So when you step into the records, you automatically go into a higher frequency. And when you connect with those higher frequencies in that realm, your entire physical dimension shifts, your DNA shifts. And I know that for myself, I've been doing the records for a long time, but I know that when I started doing them with Bonnie, that the experience of it has exponentially increased for me. And that's the power of group, and that's the power of collaboration, the power of partnership, is that when you do these kinds of practices in a group, in a community, you are exponentially increasing your chances of opening your awareness and expanding your consciousness. So it's a beautiful thing. And that's what we do on these calls.
I just love that awareness that you brought to that conversation, because, you know, it is in the Akashic records that when you go into the records, you are literally shifting the energy around a problem. When you are in the Akashic records, that is a place where there is no fear, no judgment, and you don't have to worry about there being any kind of resistance. So that realm is a place where it is energetically going to automatically shift whatever you look at. If you're looking at, you know, your relationship, an intimate relationship with someone, you are automatically, the minute you go in and ask the information, like Lily said, you are shifting the energy around it, which is always in a positive direction. You cannot possibly in the Akashic records shift your energy downward. It can only go upward. So that's awesome, Lily. I love how you phrase that. There you go. Every once in a while I go, hey, this is really cool. Look at you.
Yeah. So for those of you who may be joining for the first time, since Bonnie and I opened the records, right now we are actually sitting in the records. Mm-hmm. Information that's coming through to us is not coming just from our little egos here. It's coming actually from a higher plane where there is wisdom and guidance for us. And that's a beautiful thing. And you are sitting in that place too, by virtue of you being on this call. You are also sitting in the Akashic records for this community. And so when you ask a question, the information is coming from that realm. That's how beautiful this is. It's incredible. You could call Bonnie or me on any given day, and if we're not in the records, we probably give you an answer that's going to be very different to your question than how we're going to answer your question tonight. In fact, most of the time, Bonnie and I don't even remember what we said. We forget. And when I do readings, Akashic Records readings, I never remember what I said because I'm not the one who's saying it. It's so awesome.
That is very true. And it is funny remember when you told me, and I'm like, yeah, it sounds vaguely familiar. Like, you know, I have said something like that before, but absolutely. So we would love to have you ask questions about the Akashic records if you have them. A lot of you have been reading the records. If you want to share an experience, we would love to hear that as well. But Lily, you actually use theta healing to access the Akashic records long before you started doing it in the way that I taught you, which is using the pathway prayer process. Isn't that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was about 13, 14 years ago, I started to learn how to do theta healing, which is another modality that we use on these calls. And we start to bring in, and we're going to do the same thing today. In the second half of this call, we're going to bring in messages from the Akashic Realm, and we're also going to do some theta healing downloads. The theta healing is an energy modality that utilizes theta brain waves. Wow. Just when I say that, it just moves something through me. But theta brain waves, in fact, all healing modalities use brain waves. I mean, we use our brain waves for everything. And when we're doing energy work, we're utilizing brain waves. You can't not use brain waves if you're doing anything in this physical body. That's just the way it is.
Good
so in Reiki, for example, Reiki practitioners utilize alpha brain waves. In theta, we use theta brain waves, ergo the name, theta healing. Theta brainwaves are the same ones that are used in hypnosis. And what that means is that the practitioner goes into kind of like a trance state, and then we access very deep levels of the subconscious. And in order to do that, when we do that, We are actually able to discover belief systems that no longer serve us and programming. We have so much programming in our bodies, and they're not just in our energy field. They're not just in our minds. They're not just in our emotions. They are literally in our DNA. Every time we think something, every time we say something, every time we do something, every experience that we have results in a little mark in our DNA. That's how things transfer from one family and from one generation to another, even when they're not literally physical. So through theta healing, we can see those belief systems, and we scan the physical body, and we can see where those belief systems are actually causing trauma. Well, we do the same thing in the Akashic Records. That's what's so amazing. You can go into the Akashic Records and ask your masters, teachers, and loved ones, what's going on with my liver? What's going on with my lungs? And you can literally go and look at the DNA structure. And yes, it's helpful if your channels are open and you have some clairvoyance, but you don't need to actually do that. One of the greatest things that Bonnie and I have discovered with the Akashic Records, as well as with Theta Healing, is that you don't have to have any special abilities or any special psychic skills. It's really a matter of trusting your own inner wisdom and knowing that you are one with Source, that you are connected to the infinite, that you are part of the eternal. And when you really believe that in the core of your being, you are then able to access the waves that come through with that. So, yeah. So Theta Healing is one way to access Akashic Records. Like Bonnie said, there's a lot of ways that you can access Akashic Records and that you can access your inner wisdom. And we happen to bring in two really amazing modalities. Plus, we also do alchemy, which is another very, very powerful healing modality, where we build constructs and we clear foreign energy and we alchemize lower frequencies into higher frequencies and transmute the lower frequencies like fear and resentment and anger into love and bliss and joy. Who doesn't want that?
That is a great question, is it not? So it is. I love the question that you posed earlier, which is how Theta Healing and the Akashic Records is really kind of evolved into our Tuesday night calls, because, you know, we knew from the beginning that we were going to have these conversations about certain topics, that there were people who wanted to know more about, you know, their relationships. They wanted to know more about their careers, and a lot of different topics that we have covered, a lot of really cool ones that are going to be coming up now. But the part that I thought was really interesting is thinking about how much the readings that we've done, the wisdom that we've gotten from being in the records or doing Theta Healing, how much that has changed over the last couple of years that we've been doing it. And it's really fascinating. It has changed a lot.
Yeah, it really has. One of the things that I've noticed too with Theta Healing is, one of the tenements of Theta Healing is that we make a command for a particular download or for particular new programming that we want to bring into our energy field, whether it's our physical body, could be to resolve a physical condition, or it could be something emotional or mental. Anywhere that we have dis-ease, a lack of ease in any of our bodies, we can command through Theta Healing, and this is a command that goes directly to Source. And it basically is, it's a command, and I'm going to tell you what it is. Mother, Father, God, creator of all that is. It is commanded that, and then fill in the blank, and then the download happens. It's just like, it's so simple, right? But one of the things that I've noticed is that the more that I practice Theta Healing, I don't even have to make the commands. It's almost like, well, of course, Source would know what I want. Source would know what I need. I mean, come on, I'm showing up every single day. Source knows exactly why I'm at the doorsteps asking for something. So I don't even have to make the command anymore. And that's what happens in these calls. And that was not something that I was expecting. I was taught, you know, you do the command and then you witness the healing. But we are being spontaneously healed, and we are spontaneously being given downloads and healing that Source knows we need. And when we open the records, it is an invitation. This is really a beautiful thing. When we open the records, every time that you open the records for yourself, and it's so easy to do that because it's just a simple prayer. And like Bonnie said, there's many ways to do it. You could simply just through intention say, I now enter the Akashic Records, and I now welcome the masters that are there to teach me and guide me, to give me answers, to resolve for me, to show me what I need to see. Sometimes just an intention is all that you need. But the prayer is really helpful because it helps us to delineate the going in and the going out of the Akashic records, which we human beings, we like delineation. We like the beginnings and the ends. You know, we like to know when something starts and we like to know when something ends. And that's why it's helpful. But when we do that, when we open the records for ourselves or for our community or for anyone, it is an open invitation that says, come, I invite you into my home. I invite you into my heart. I ask for your assistance. I am in gratitude for your assistance. I thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for being here with me. And so we welcome them. We are in appreciation of them. And they are definitely here to help us. They want us to go up in frequency. They want us to heal. They want us to live the lives that we said we wanted to live. They want us to be happy and joyful and blissful and playful and all of that stuff.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Laura actually
Am I plugging too much body?
No, it's absolutely, like, what else can I say to that? Absolutely. Laura actually typed a question in. She wants to know if we could help her find the unconscious pattern that keeps her from going into her records to get guidance for herself. So as part of it, I was actually starting to look at that, and I was starting to move some of that. She says she has a huge resistance, and then she says, you just answered it. I love how that happens.
That also brings up another thing, and that is that most of us think that it's hard to access wisdom and to connect with source. Most of us think that it's not possible. Oh, I couldn't possibly do it. Bonnie and Lily, they do it all the time. I watch them, but for me, no, that's not possible. Most of us think that those things are hard and that we have to have special skills and special abilities. But we really need to let go and know that we are born worthy of all our powers. And I just really want everybody to think that, really hold that in your heart for a moment. We are born worthy of all our powers. We are born worthy of knowing everything that we need to know. We are born worthy of being with Source and being in bliss and having the lives that we've dreamed about. We are worthy. And so that's part of the problem, is that most of us think it's hard. So because that's the way society has taught us. It's the old no pain, no gain. I say that all the time because it's just such a common belief in our culture that in order for you to really achieve something, you must work hard. It has to be complicated. If it's not complicated, it can't possibly be that great. And so we adhere to that belief system. And so when something is presented to us that seems so easy and so simple, we resist it and we say, no, it couldn't possibly be. But Bonnie and I are here to tell you, oh, yes, it can. And trust me, if Bonnie and I can do this, you can do it too. And you can do it through intention, and you can do it through simply believing in yourself and believing that you are one with Source, because you are. We are all made of the same material, of the same energy, of the same matter. We are all one. And so it's just a matter of stepping into that new belief, that new programming, and having it be so. Just like you picked up the wrong programming, you can pick up the right programming.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, one of the reasons why I love to have my daughter around is because Sarah loves to tell people the story of how, like, I'm her new mommy, and she's 26, but she still will say that, new mommy, as opposed to her old mom, who was the one who couldn't do this stuff. And it is absolutely true that there was a time period when I did not connect with any of this. I didn't understand these words. I remember when I had my first Akashic record reading, and I'm like, so what am I supposed to ask? And what am I going to do? And how is this going to work? And we're only talking about 4 years ago. So it has not been a long time, but as Lily has said, we are actually all born with the same divine channels of communication. Actually, every single being on the planet has the exact same divine communication channels. So we all are capable of being clairvoyant and claircognizant and clairaudient and clairsentient, and we have telepathic channels and telemetric channels, and there's one other one that I can never remember. That is, we're all capable of all of that. But what has happened is we've gotten a lot of foreign energy, a lot of hoocha, a lot of, garbage collected in those channels, and we no longer have access to them. So what Lily and I have done is we have spent the last few years paying a lot of attention to clearing those channels and moving out the things that are keeping us from connecting with our own information. And as we have done more of that, we have seen how powerful it is for you all to have access to your own information, for you all to be able to, ask a question, and instead of asking the question and putting it out on Facebook, question, can somebody give me the answer to what I need for my health? You're actually checking in with your own knowingness. You're actually talking to your own soul, to your own essence, and you are connecting with that. Here's what I'm going to do next. I absolutely love the people who say, you can't know all that stuff. And I'm like, it is really amazing that you really can know that, and know it in a clear sense, and not a sense like, oh, I know that, this is how it works, but just know it because you know it, because you know that it's true, right? When that information comes in, you're just like, it's clear as a bell. I know this is what I'm doing, and you don't doubt it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, oh my gosh, we're really running out of time. Come on, let's see some hands being raised here.
Or type it into the chat.
Question. So if you go to the bottom of your screen and you scroll over the little bar underneath your video, you'll see a manage participants or just participants. And if you click on that, you can raise your hand. We're going to shake things up a little bit on this call because we're giving you a lot of information and that would maybe be coming through, but so we'll give you guys a little time to raise your hand. As we were, oh, there's a hand raised. Okay, Kat, you're on.
Oh, hi. Yeah, my question has to do with, I've been reading so much about, oh, by the way, I was referred to by somebody who had just a life-altering experience with you, and I'm probably going to get myself up there to get a reading at some point. But because that's all new to me. I've never even, I've heard of it over the years, but I'm really excited to have it done. My question has to do with this shift that I've been hearing about for years from 3D to 5D. And I've been hearing that it's getting stronger now. Between 2018 and 2020, we're supposed to be, obviously staying in our physical 3D skin bags, but kind of like migrating spiritually as we raise our vibration to 4 and 5. Do you have any comments on that and insight?
It's so fun.
Sure.
Like Lily and I both sit, okay. I think it is absolutely there's a lot of different names for this thing about moving from 3D to 5D. I love the way Lily explains it, so I'm going to let her go into all of that. But there is absolutely new frequencies that are coming onto the planet. They are coming onto the planet every single day. There are new frequencies coming in. Of course, tomorrow is the Lion's Gate, and that is 8818. The number 8 is about clearing unconsciousness, and so there's going to be a lot more frequencies that are coming in to clear more unconsciousness. I think we will see some huge shifts and changes and things like that, and we've seen those. But as far as the wording, Lily, go ahead and talk about that, the whole swimming through the emotion.
And 888 is also for clearing unworthiness and alchemizing unworthiness, which is really a wonderful thing that is happening on the planet right now as these new frequencies are coming through cosmically. The whole ascension thing, you're going to love our class, Kat, that's going to be coming up next month, because we're going to be talking about the ascension process in the 5th dimension and all of that. So we're going to go into great details about that. But just to answer your question a little bit, there's always in the news, you hear exaggerations. It's not like we're going to change. Yes, we're going to remain in these, my son calls them meat sacks, I think. You called it a skin sack. My son calls our body a meat sack. But what's happening is that the energy that's moving through for us, and as we raise our frequency, literally it's causing a quantum leap in our energy field. We're not going to actually experience it in the kind of ways that, they dramatize. There's just so much dramatization.
Gotcha. I know, there really is. And it gets confusing. Yeah.
It is. It's very confusing. And that's why Bonnie and I teach us all to access your own information. Stop going on the internet so much because it's just so confusing. We teach you to access your information so you can know the truth from within you. But as we are moving from the third to the fifth dimension, it's going to be a long process. This is not something that happens overnight like they'd like to make you think, or that you could go pay $1,000 and have your DNA activated and all of a sudden you're in the fifth dimension. No, it doesn't happen that way. It's a gradual process. It took us eons and lifetimes for us to get all this unconsciousness, all this foreign energy, all this unworthiness, all these lower frequencies, which was necessary because we are creating the contrast of separation so that we can then know again oneness. And in order to do that, we have to raise our frequency back to where it was when we started this journey. We started this journey as a pure soul. And then we started accumulating unconsciousness. We started accumulating low frequencies. We started accumulating, well, first of all, the creation of ego, for example. We definitely don't need an ego in the spirit plane, and we don't need an ego in the fifth dimension. But how many years do you think it's really going to take for humanity to clear ego from our system?
Yeah.
I mean, really. And that's really what it's going to take. In the fifth dimension, we can't have an ego. That's a crazy thing to even think about in the fifth dimension. So yeah, this is a great place to be to learn about that stuff. And we're excited about this series because we actually have one of the calls in this series is going to talk about DNA and activations and how all that works. And by the way, all our DNA is being activated right now as we're speaking. We're always activating DNA on these phone calls. And for everybody, it's a little bit different. Some people start to experience more light in their system. They start just experiencing more joy. For some people, it shows up as a little bit tumultuous in the beginning. When you're clearing, and you're bringing in more light into your system, you're going to see more of the hoocha. You're going to see more of the dust that's been collecting, stuff that you didn't see before. And that's a good thing. So we got a lot of clearing to do and a lot of raising our frequency before we can even think about what it's going to be like to live in the fifth dimension.
Awesome.
But the good news is that we are headed in that direction.
Awesome. Thank you, ladies, so much. Beautiful.
You're welcome.
Welcome.
You're welcome.
And welcome. All right. So do we have anyone else that would like to ask a question? We'll give it a little bit more time than we normally do because we've already been bringing in information from the Akashic Realm as we're talking.
Oh, for sure. For
yeah.
sure.
Right now, and as whoever was that was chatting about the resistance, this is something that we're working on too, because, and really your questions are the ones that do bring forth the information. Without a question, there can't be an answer. So it's really, really important. But just sometimes you just even thinking the question is enough, but it really makes it more impactful when you ask it out loud, because it allows everyone else to hear it too. And it allows them to know, hey, I'm not the only one that has this question. And let's face it, for a lot of us, a lot of this stuff is really woo-woo, as we like to say.
It is absolutely woo-woo. Is anybody, we're going to go ahead and see if there's any other questions. Otherwise, we'll just go ahead and people can pop in questions during the, while we are talking, they can absolutely pop in a question. But, you know, we don't want you to feel like, oh no, I can't ask a question now. Put a question and type the question in so that you don't have to remember it, right?
Yeah, your little chat button is right next to the participants and share screen. There's a little button there that says chat. Just click on that and you can chat to us.
Awesome. So for just a moment, I just want to take a moment to talk about how much the Akashic Records has changed since we first started doing these, because we were talking about that and then had some great questions and got sidetracked with it. But, you know, I remember when we first started getting this information, the information was coming in that was...
Oh.
I know, I saw that. Did you see that?
Yeah. You were muted for a second. Go ahead, Bonnie.
Muted for a second. When we first started doing this, the information that was coming in to me was kind of like kindergarten, first grade, second grade information. It was really basic general information that was coming in. And now we are getting much deeper. We are definitely left elementary school. We are definitely, I believe we are through most of middle school or junior high, and we are entering into these high school stages where we're taking on the bigger concepts, the more in-depth wisdom, and some of the conversations that we have sometimes can be a little challenging, a little like confronting of like, how do I feel about that? What is that information about? So it'll be interesting to see what's going to come through tonight. Are we ready?
We're ready. Go for it.
Awesome. Okay. So wherever it came from, I wrote down on a piece of paper, we all have access. That is the big theme for me tonight, is that all of us have access to all of our information. And it is a myth that has gone back millions of years on this planet. There was a time period on this planet where everybody had access to all of their information. Everybody clearly knew where they came from. They knew what their past lives were. They clearly understood energy, could see energy, could speak energy, could connect with other beings on the planet, other people on the planet, in a way that we can only imagine. It's kind of like those, the Star Trek movies, or some of the planets that they went on, where we can only imagine what that looked like. And this time period was a beautiful time period where everybody had access. Everybody understood energy. That is the part that's really important for us to remember. And then what happened was low frequencies started being introduced to the planet. There were low frequencies, and at first they were just mildly low frequencies. So instead of, fear, there was, a little panic or a little distress. Like, it was just small frequencies. It wasn't on the scale of they were not very big and painful. But, as these low frequencies came onto the planet, there were some people who actually adjusted to them, who started getting used to them, who discovered that they could actually use these low frequencies in their favor. They could use these low frequencies of fear and pain and maybe a little bit of distress, and use them for their benefit. And we're talking about over a span of 1,000,000 years. We're not talking about over a span of a lifetime, but many, many lifetimes. More and more of these low frequencies came in, until there became a time when people no longer remembered who they were. They no longer remembered what they were here to do. And they had some vague idea that there used to be something that big that was kind of overseeing all of this. But there became a time where it was like, well, there must be something in the sky that controls things, and we're going to say, there's a thunder god and there's a rain god and things like that. And they just started creating things because they could no longer connect with their information. They no longer had the ability to just know where their information was coming from. And so they consequently had to start creating it from a place of not knowing. So if you can imagine, the analogy they're giving me is that if you were in a closet with the light off and you were told to write a note, you have some vague idea that you're still writing on the paper, and you might have an idea of which way is up, and you might have some general idea of the lines, but when you took that piece of paper out into the light, you'd be like, what did I write there? And words are jumbled on top of other words, and it is no longer something that resembles what they were used to seeing. And so we can imagine how this just continued, that there was this time period where everything was beautiful and we were connected, and then there's this time period where we're no longer connected. And we are in that time period where we have experienced millions of years of not being connected. And it got to the point where, that being in the sky, so to speak, source creator God said, what, it's time to give them some information. It's time for them to start connecting with who they are. And we're going to start giving some people the information and give it to them so that they can be the ripple in the pond, so that they can be the rock that gets thrown in so that it ripples outward. And the analogy I have been given from probably 3 years now is that we are like on, anybody who's a Disney fan, we are like going on a Disney ride where all of us, this huge mass of humanity, is moving through this ride, but they can't accommodate all of us at once. And so, this mass of humanity has to go through, a few doorways, go down a few hallways, make some turns, and the mass just keeps getting smaller and smaller until there are some people that are moving through now, and it is completely determined by your soul. This is not something that has anything to do with, who's better, who has more money, who can do it faster, right? This is completely a soul-guided decision. And we are coming into more of our knowing, more of our seeing, more of our hearing, and healing those things that have kept us stuck, that have kept us not able to connect with our information, the things that have kept us from really being clear about the cosmos, about healing, about energy, about being able to see energy, about being able to connect and understand disease and conditions that have happened. Everything has an energy perspective, but we have forgotten about it. The important part for all of this is for us to remember that we all have access. There is absolutely no one on this planet that does not have the exact same access that, for example, Lily and I have, or for example, many of the people who are on this call. Because there is a ton of people that are listening to this live or later that have as much access as Lily and I do, if not more. But it doesn't have to do with anything other than your soul decided this is what you're doing now, this is where you're going, and that's why you are where you are right now. And the important thing for us to remember is that we are doing exactly what we're supposed to be doing, exactly when we're supposed to be doing it in the timetable. We are absolutely connecting with it. And they're giving me this little aside, is that this process is a 300 plus year process. That whole moving into the fifth dimension, we're going to arrive at the final Disney ride 300 years from now. So relax, enjoy it, do what you can to stay connected, do what you can to get more information, and most of all, pay attention to what Lily's going to say next.
Well, I'm noticing that the light that I had in my room is not working.
You are. It's getting a little dark over there.
Yeah, it's a little dark. I've got a bright light here, but as you started to talk, Bonnie, the first thing, well, even before you started to talk, the first thing that came to my mind was the phrase, "You have forgotten who you are." And then you go into how we don't remember who we are. And so, as usual, we are definitely accessing the same place because we're getting the same messages. And you and I have a wonderful way of interpreting it slightly differently so that we can communicate at different levels to different people. So I'm sitting literally right now inside the Akashic Records for this community. And I am present right now. And I'm feeling the emotional aspect of sitting in the Akashic Records because it is really emotional to go in there. And I don't always feel this level of emotion, but I am feeling it right now. I'm feeling the compassion, and I'm feeling the understanding, like they have their arms around us. And like they're saying to us, yes, you have forgotten who you are. And it makes so much sense that everything that Bonnie alluded to, the lifetimes that we've gone through, the millions of years that we've been accumulating all these low frequencies and forgotten who we are and that we don't remember who we are. It makes perfect sense because, gosh, we can't even remember being born. I mean, we come into this life, our soul enters that fetus when it's in our mother's womb, and we don't remember that. We don't remember being in a fetus. We don't remember being born. We don't remember, most of us don't even remember the first 3 or 4 years of our life. How could we possibly remember all the eons and lifetimes that we've had, that our soul has adventured through different universes? Because there's more than one universe, and science is proving that. So these masters and teachers are here, and they literally are saying, if you could only see yourself the way that we see you, if you could only see how bright your light is. And this is for all of you, it's for all of us, because we don't see ourselves as light. We see ourselves as a meat sack or a skin sack, or how Kat was referring to it. We see ourselves as like this machine, you know, and with all the intricacies of this machine, the systems in our body. We have so many systems and everything seems so complicated. How does our heart work without us being conscious of how it's dumping blood through our entire system? How does our central nervous system send communications out everywhere? We're not conscious of these things. It just happens automatically. Anyone would think that we're just a machine. And there are those that would have us think that we're just a machine. But the masters are saying to us right now, if you could only see yourself the way that we see you. And they're like lining up because I'm seeing all of them. And those of us that are on this call and those of you that'll be listening to this recording, we are a community. And if you add up all the masters and all the guides and all the teachers that are here that we each have in our own Akashic records, and you line them up and put them in one gigantic room, oh my God, there's a party happening right now in the Akashic Realm. And they are all saying the same thing. If you could only see yourself the way that we see you, the way that we see you as a bright star, the way that we see you as a powerful manifester, as a powerful creator. If you could only see yourself the way that we see you, as a kind and generous, pure, loving soul, as someone that would never harm anyone. If you could only see yourself the way we see you, as one with Source, as one with all of us, in unity to create and to manifest and to expand the one consciousness, the one true love that there is. You could only see yourself the way that we see you. There would not be the levels of, there's a word in Spanish, you know, this is one of the advantages of knowing another language is sometimes the English language doesn't quite fit, but there's a word in Spanish that means inquietud. And what that is, I'm sure it comes from Latin, the root. Inquietud means like an unsettlement, that we are unsettled somehow. We know inside of us that there's something that's not quite right. And so we look for answers. We seek the light because we are unsettled. There is that inquietud within us that says something is not quite right. Something is off. I wake up in the morning and I don't know who I am. Or I wake up in the morning and I know who I am and I don't like it. Or I don't know where I'm going. Oh, I think I know where I'm going and I don't know that I like it. And so there is an unsettlement in each of us, something that thinks there's something more. And you know what? There is. And what that something more is to see ourselves the way God sees us, to see ourselves the way these masters see us, these beautiful beings of light that are available to us at the drop of a dime. I don't even think that's the expression, but literally with just an intention, you call upon these masters and these guides and they are there for you. Mm-hmm. All you have to do is welcome them into your life. All you have to do is invite them into your life. All you have to do is acknowledge that they are there. Mm-hmm. And if you could only see yourself the way that we see you is what they keep saying. They're just saying it over and over again. They tend to be really repetitive because they know that we have thick heads and we don't listen. We just don't listen because, again, sometimes the messages that we receive are so simple, we tend to think, oh, it can't possibly be that wise if it's that simple. That's how they want us to see ourselves. When we look in the mirror, see the light, see that we are one, see ourselves as powerful creators, see ourselves through the eyes of God, through the eyes of compassion, through the eyes of love. There really is only one way to raise our frequency, and that is to stand in the frequency of love, because love will raise all lower frequencies. There's a lot of high frequencies like love. Joy, for example, is a really high frequency, and joy will alchemize a lot of low frequencies. But, you know, love will raise every frequency every single time. You can't go wrong with just stepping into love. So ask yourself every day that you look in the mirror and you're not quite happy with what you're seeing. Some of us are experiencing the signs of aging, and we look in the mirror and we're like, oh no, another gray hair to pluck, which is what I do. Or, oh no, there's another wrinkle. Or, oh no, there's another inch I've gained. I better get on a scale and weigh myself. We're always criticizing ourselves. We're always seeing ourselves through the eyes of the one that doesn't fill in the blank. And they really want us to take another look and to consider that we didn't get here through some lofty wish. We didn't get here through some synchronistic action or event. We didn't get here from some crazy coincidence that two cells just collided in space and all of a sudden, boom, there's humanity. No, there was a much greater force, a much greater source that had us all be here. And if we could only see ourselves through the power of that creative ability, because we are that power to create. We have come from the creator and we are the creator. And so they're really asking us to take another look and consider viewing ourselves not through the eyes of the person that's gained another inch or gained another pound or plucked another gray hair. They really want us to take another look and consider that we are miraculous, that we are a miracle of life, that we are an extension of source, that we are here to help each other recognize that in each other. That is why we're here. We're here to help each other recognize that level of power and greatness in each other. So remember that as you move around in your world and you interact and collide with other human beings, remember that we are all made of the same stuff, that we all came from the creator and we are moving in that direction to be once again powerful creators, creators of universes, creators of galaxies, creators of star systems, creators of suns and planets. So now the download is coming in and oh my gosh, I'm just feeling this amazing download coming in for us that is going to clear our channels, and it's coming through the upper chakras. It feels very warm. It's a very white gold light, sprinkled with a lot of rose quartz, because of course we have to have Mother Father here with us. And wow. So it's moving through from the upper chakras and it's coming through down through the 8th chakra, but there's also some clearing that's happening in our dream space, which is right around here. The 8th chakra is about 18 inches above our crown. And the 8th chakra is getting a major whopping cleaning right now for all of us. Those of you that participated in our the 8th chakra series on the chakra activations, you had a major 8th chakra clearing too, but you're getting another one tonight. So we're getting a major clearing and activation for the 8th chakra. And as this light is moving, it's a very bright, bright gold white light moving through our crown. And it's actually moving through the entire, I'm seeing it moving through all our system. So it's moving all the way down into the DNA level. So yes, Kat, there is DNA being activated. But DNA gets activated in multi layers. There's not just those 13 strands. There's actually a lot more complexity to our DNA system than science would have us believe. And so it's moving through all the way there, but on its way, it's passing through the central nervous system and through the circulation and respiration and metabolism and digestive. Every single system is being impacted by this beautiful gold white light. If you're not experiencing a little bit of heat, don't worry, you're still getting it. And if you're resistant to receiving this activation and this download, don't worry, you won't be getting it. We never impose a download on anyone that doesn't want it. But your soul knows if you want it or not. And you are getting it if your soul wants it. So, wow, okay, so it's really, really strong and really powerful. And this is going to help us to open our channels to receive with love, and also to allow ourselves to view ourselves, to see ourselves from the perspective of love and from the perspective of oneness with source. And that's what we do here at the 8th Chakra Company to help you to achieve and get closer and closer to. Wow. So this activation is going to go on for the next 12 hours. So drink a lot of water and be gentle with yourself. And look in the mirror a lot and smile a lot at your new self, because you are a new self starting today.
Well, Lily, I can't say anything has changed. You're always doing these amazing activations and then turning the floor back to me. Let me think.
Yeah, but you forget I have to follow you.
True. But that activation, that Supreme Being Gold Light was, oh my goodness. I saw that coming in. I was like, oh, what a lovely gift. What a lovely gift. So we just want to give you a couple of ideas, some things that you can do from here. We have a mastery class that is going to be starting on August 19th. It's going to be happening on Sundays from 7 to 8:30 at night, and it is going on for 6 weeks. If you are interested in the Akashic Records and really want a practice to dive deep, we are going to be talking about creating with power and joy and really looking at how blocks were created, how we can blow up the blocks, what is keeping us from accessing more power and joy. We have 4 seats left for the in-person part, but we have plenty of seats available for the online part, so you do not need to be present to attend the program. We have our launching...
Wait. Just one quick thing I want to say about the mastery class is that not only do you get some extraordinary practice in the records, but you're going to be mentored by Bonnie and me. And we do one-on-one sessions with you, and not to mention all the healing that happens. You just can't get this level of healing anywhere. We do alchemy, we do theta healing, we clear your channels. Yeah, don't miss it.
Absolutely. Isaac, I want to encourage you to drop your question that you might have into the chat here, because we have 3 minutes left. We are launching our Essential Chakra Guide and Activation Series. If you have gotten that secret email that Lily's not supposed to know about, you have an opportunity to purchase this series for $197. On Friday, it's going up to $249. So go on our website, get that information, go on our Facebook page, get the link so that you can take advantage of that. We have the coolest program. Lily did talk about it, maybe it was me, about ascension and healing. We're going to be doing an hour-and-a-half session where we are going to just be doing alchemy and theta healing and bringing in wisdom and information around ascension, around healing. There are so many people out there that are stressing out, that are anxiety ridden, that are just falling into depression because of these ascension symptoms that they are having. And so we are committed to helping people shift that and heal that. So we're going to be doing that on September 7th. Next week, we are going to be doing the quantum field. This is going to be so freaking cool. I had an opportunity to talk about the quantum field. Wow, is it only yesterday? And the information that was coming in was just powerful about how we can affect the quantum field. And I have no doubt that from now until next week, Lily, you and I are going to be going, oh my God, did you know? Can you believe? Because there is so much incredible information about how we are able to really influence the quantum field in ways that we had no idea. So we're going to be talking about that next week. If you can't be on live, make sure that you register for that program so you get the recording. Everything is recorded. It's put on SoundCloud. We also put the video on YouTube. So go to YouTube and I don't know, what do they do it on YouTube? Like the page or subscribe. You subscribe to it so that you can get the recordings as soon as they pop in. You don't even have to wait for an email. Lily, is there anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I just have to say, as far as the Essential Chakra Guide and Activation Series, I'm telling you, I don't want to sound bossy, but you got to get it.
Go ahead.
I edited the transcripts and I got the downloads all over again and the activations, and it transformed all my energy bodies. And I was there when the original thing happened. I was crying. I was moved. My whole body shifted. My life shifted from doing our own activation series. Okay. So if that can happen for me, it's going to happen for you. I'm not kidding. You got to get that series. You can listen to it over and over again. And activating your chakra system is like taking a shower. I say that all the time. You don't just take a shower and expect to never take a shower again. You got to do it over and over again. And this activation series allows you to do that. If you're really looking to increase your frequency and open up your channels and step more and more into your power, let me tell you, this is the way to do it. We should be charging $1,000 for it. Bonnie doesn't like me to say that, but we really should be charging $1,000 for it. So get it while it's on the early bird special.
There you go. There you go.
And we love you guys. We love you so much. Thank you for being here with us tonight. This is an amazing, amazing call. And we do say amazing way too much, but it is. It's extraordinary. Love all
there
of
you go. It's extraordinary. And one quick last thing, go on our Facebook page. You will see all of our classes on our Facebook page. Our website is in the process of being updated, but it is pretty current with everything that we're doing. If you're looking to participate in this stuff, go and find the information. And you can always text us, right? Just connect with us personally.
Yeah, most of you guys have direct access to us, and we always get back with you.
Yeah. We love you.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you.